Good Sunday morning to all of you. Hope you're preparing for first Diwali with a lot of enthusiasm. अभी पहले तो दिवाली आ रही है. And second, I'm sure you're also preparing for the CAT. At the same time, there will be a lot of questions in your mind about other certifications and whether you should pursue them. So some of you may actually have some time till you join your MBA college, right? So you'll join your MBA college around June, July, depending on how coronavirus treats us, right? But you will definitely have some time till June. And some of you who are considering a career in finance may also actually want to consider doing some financial certification, right? Because it's very important that we all keep working on our CVs and try to distinguish ourselves from other similar students. So we decided at Unacademy that yes, such a session will definitely be helpful for you all, and that's what we are doing today, guys. Today's session is mostly about all these different financial certifications that you keep hearing about, and whether you should do them or not do them. And first of all, my God, what are they, right? What do they stand for? Okay, so great, let me begin. Hi, I'm Munira Lokhandwala, and I am Calcutta alumna, a serial 100 percentiler in the CAT and a 99 percentiler in the GMAT. I also have a CAT verbal book published by Wiley and available on Amazon. And for the purposes of today's session, guys, I have cleared all levels of the CFA. In fact, I've received the charter also, but I'm not a member. I'm not a current member of the CFA society because I'm not in the world of finance, right? I also have an FRM charter. So yes, I'm fully ready to take today's session. Guys, I take sessions regularly on the Unacademy YouTube Crack Cat channel, which is this channel. In this channel, we have done a lot of sessions starting from September on basic concepts in reading comprehension, arithmetic, and even in DI. Besides that, we have discussed a host of CAT questions, right, in preparation to the CAT 2020. We have had paper discussions of recent papers, 2018-17, and even the earlier papers, 2008 onwards and back, because they have questions have been repeated in the CAT. So this week we are going to start off with 2019 paper discussions, both slot 1 and slot 2. So hope to see you there as well. On Unacademy, I am taking special classes for maths. So we are doing a jump start your quant percentile, and that I'm taking. Yeah. So jumpstart your quant percentile, I'm taking every Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Right? So I understand it's Diwali and evening will be spent time visiting people. So I'm sure you can spare some time in the morning for your prep and do ensure that the time is spent with us, right? So first thing, go to the Google Play Store, download and install the Unacademy Learning app. Within that, you have to go for CAT as a goal and the plus course. Guys, we are doing a lot of batches, right, just for 2020 and for 2021 also. So for 2020, as I just told you all, we are doing crashers, we are doing revisers. For 2021, we are doing structured batches that get over in a month. We are doing some relaxed batches that get over in 3 months. You have so much choice with respect to teachers, with respect to batch timings, with respect to how many batches you can be a part of, right? So it is not a general institute where you can be a part of one batch, you can only watch a video 2-3 times, because I know that's what happens, right? In Unacademy, you join and you have a lot of choice. We have teachers, guys, 200 educators in the CAT itself, the top 14 educators as well. And they are from across the country. They teach in different languages. So whatever is your preference, whatever you are comfortable with, I'm sure you'll find something that matches exactly, right? So another reason why you should enroll on Unacademy ASAP is the National Scholarship Test. Every Sunday from 18th October onwards, we have been having a section test, one particular section, जिस पे test हो रहा है every Sunday. So section test है 40 minutes का. Now the CAT is a 2-hour paper. This Sunday we are doing a sections test on quant. Okay, 3 टेस्ट हो चुके हैं. 50 बच्चों ने पर टेस्ट, 150 बच्चों ने Amazon vouchers भी जीते हैं. Right? I'm sure you don't want to miss out on this Sunday. अभी आज 5 बजे, right? You take your test, and I'm sure you don't want to miss out on getting Amazon voucher, right? I wouldn't want to miss out on that. So we have same day analysis at 7 o'clock and great analysis with insights on how to solve the paper and how to do it more quickly. So I hope to see you there for the scholarship test. We are also doing a CAT batch for 2021. It will be conducted by Professor Prateek, me and Professor Bobby. So I hope to see you guys for that batch as well. And which subscription to go for, that we can discuss towards the end of the class. You can use my code Munira10 to get a great discount, right? So great, guys. So little time and so many things to do. This quote was by a French philosopher Balzac, right? That so many things and so little time. So yeah, you have so many certifications and you don't have enough time. So what are these certifications? You've heard of them. CFA, FRM, CIMA, also called CIMA, CAIA, CPA, and of course, Apna Indian CA. Right, so we know about all of these letters. I'd like to call them the alphabet soup. हर तरह से हर permutations, combinations और अक्सर सब C से start हो रहे हैं. तो ये सब का full form क्या है? Correct? That's the first thing. कि what do these letters stand for? So CFA, for instance, is Chartered Financial Analyst, and I want you to spend some, a few seconds understanding that this is actually an analyst. FRM is a financial risk manager. CIMA is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountant. Okay, so there's an analyst, different from a manager, different from an accountant. CAIA is again an analyst. CPA is an accountant, and of course, Apna CA is Chartered Accountant. So these, words themselves give us some idea about what kind of designation you can have once you clear this exam, right? So once you are a CFA, you will be an analyst. Once you are a CIMA or a CA, you will be an accountant, right? And if you are already doing your MBA, that means, you're not really looking at plain accounting, then obviously there'll be a preference more, right? There'll be more preference for being a manager or an analyst compared to being an accountant. So I want you all to keep in mind the meaning of, the full form of these abbreviations and their meaning, right? So for each of these abbreviations, this is what we'll focus on. Okay, our concerns about the exam. First of all, ये exam का तवज्जो क्या है, किसकी तरफ ये एग्जाम ध्यान दे रहा है, what is the focus of this exam, what eligibility do I need, can I take it, that's the next step, right? Even before you go further, अगर आप eligible नहीं हो तो why bother, right? So what is the eligibility to go ahead and take these exams? And then of course, क्या हमारे CV पे फर्क पड़ेगा, does it have enough CV value, will I get jobs with it? So forget your MBA, correct? MBA, of course, will make a difference in the kind of jobs you'll get. Just based on this certification, will you get more choice? Will you get more salary, right? How will this affect your job scene? Finally, what does the curriculum focus on? Correct? So this is what the exam focuses on, and this is what the curriculum. What do you need to know to do well in this exam, right? How many levels does it have? Do you need any work experience to get the final certificate? So like our CA also needs work experience, right? You just can't take the exams, pass it and say, I'm a CA. To get that final certification, a lot of these exams need work experience. So how much work experience do we need? How do we take the exam in terms of whether it is MCQ based, is it a written format, right? So that is the next question. Of course, ideally, we should also be talking about whether this is paper-based, online. But now with the COVID world, right, paper-based is anyways on a decline. And I don't think paper-based exams are going to last for more than 1 or 2 more years, right? Exam पूरा clear करने को, सारे exams clear करने को, all the levels, right? What is the time frame that we are looking at? So if I start, let us say in June, by when can I finish all the levels, right? What kind of pass rate does this exam have, right? So if you're spending so much time studying, what kind of pass rate does this exam have? So if 100 students take the exam, do 20 pass it, do 30 pass it, right? So what is the exam pass rate, and finally, of course, what kind of cost you will incur, right? What is the exam cost when you take these exams? So this is what we'll focus on for each and every certification. I want you to pay attention and if possible ask doubts in the chat box, right? So great, let's move on. So first is of course the CFA, and there's a reason CFA is first, right? उनका focus है portfolio management. If you see the way the 3 levels are organized, okay, all the 3 levels have more or less the same subjects, but their weightages change. So portfolio management starting from level 1 is 5%, and by the time you go to level 3, portfolio management is 50% of the paper. Okay, so their whole focus is that after you finish your CFA, you should be able to get, invest for individual clients, corporate clients, right? Manage their portfolios. That is more or less their aim. But the curriculum is so vast, right? And it really focuses on so many topics that I tell students very clearly कि अगर आपको clarity है कि मुझे finance में कुछ करना है, right? So a lot of students who have not done their MBA may not have clarity about what in finance, right? They may not be sure whether they want to get into corporate finance. Where is the pen? Yeah. Whether they want to get into corporate finance or whether they want to get into treasury management or they want to get into, mergers and acquisitions, which is an investment banker. Okay. Or they want to get into derivatives trading, commodities trading. And that just finance is a vast field in terms of your job profile. So you may not know all this because maybe you're not that exposed to each and every aspect of the financial world. But if you're focused enough, right, if you're liking, if your aptitude, if you're good with numbers and you know that you have some sort of financial aptitude, you've already invested in the market a little bit. So आपको इतना clarity है कि yes, I want to do something in finance. My career will be in finance. If you are sure that finance is what you want to do, then you must consider doing this here. So as I said, I have also passed all the 3 levels. I also have the charter, and it is a very good exam to take. It is very, very relevant to actual application, actual workplace kind of problems that you will do. Okay. So as I said, कि भले focus is portfolio management, अगर finance में कुछ करना है, तो CFA can only help. Okay. Now, what is the eligibility? If you are in last year of your graduation, right? So even if you are in the last year of your BCom or BSc or even engineering, right? You can take your level 1. So level 1 can be taken twice in a year. It can be taken in December. It can be taken in June. You may want to take the December exam in your final year, which means after you pass out, after you take your exams, you can take your level 2 in June. So by the time you finish your graduation, you've already finished 2 levels of CFA, right? And then you can take the next level next June. So level 2 and level 3 is only in June. Level 2 and level 3. Whereas level 1 यहाँ पे भी है और यहाँ पे भी है. Okay. So last year of graduation से आप ये exam ले सकते हो. If you have finished your 12th or if you have cousins, I know that obviously all of you all are either graduates or in the last year, but 12th standard students, for example, cannot take it. CV value is high. Jobs seen in India is very good once you clear level 2. So there are a lot of level 1 aspirants that are there. So clearing level 2 is what differentiates. If you are abroad, then even level 1 से job scene आपका काफी बदलता है. Okay, so CFA, great CV value and great job scene. So as I said, right, कि अगर finance करना है तो CFA you should definitely consider. Curriculum में you have maths, eco, debt. Debt means bond instruments. How do you analyze? How do you analyze stocks? You also have ethics. So CFA is very, very focused on ethics. In fact, they have a cutoff for the kind of ethics scores that you can get. Okay. Along with that, you have derivative, you have corporate finance as a separate topic. You have financial statement reporting and analysis. Okay, so they cover all relevant topics that are there in finance that makes the foundation of finance. Right? So there are 10 topics or so. Portfolio management is also a topic that you will be covering in different depths. Level 1 may it will be on the basic side. Level 2 it will be a little difficult, right? And level 3 may it will be a little more difficult. But it is well structured, well organized. If you study for 3 hours a day for 4 to 5 months properly, you will pass the exam. Right? But you have to be a little sincere. You have to do 3 hours a day, 4 to 5 months. If you compare it with the kind of efforts required for the CA, right, then the CFA efforts are fairly manageable. Okay, so great. You can take all these papers on the same day. In fact, it's one single paper that you'll be taking all the time. So you need to revise a little bit also. But as I said, it is definitely a very crackable exam. There are, as we have been speaking, right, there are 3 levels. To get a final charter, you need 4 years of relevant experience. So you need to clear all exams. And let's say if you've just finished studying, you're just a graduate. After which, if you start, so you may take 2 more years to get the certificate. If you're working at the same time, then you'll take 4 years totally for the charter. Or you may take 2 plus 4, another 6 years to get just the charter. So you can call yourself, okay, I've cleared 3 levels, but you can't call yourself a CFA till you get 4 years, until you actually receive the charter from them. Exam mode is has been paper based for a long time, but I think with the corona virus issues, they are moving to online. And it is MCQ driven for level 1 and level 2. Level 1, level 2 is completely MCQ based. Level 2 mein thoda it is caselets, and level 1 mein there are single questions. But level 3 is a composition of handwritten answers and MCQs. So you have subjective plus objective for level 3. 30% weightage is given to the subjective answers. You can finish the exam in 2 to 3 years. You can take, June, हर June में आप level लोगे तो आपके 3 साल लगेंगे. But if you take the December level 1 and then June level 2 and then next June level 3, you can finish it in 2 years also. Pass rate is reasonably high, 40%, and this is global pass rate. Indian pass rate, I think, is close to 45 to 50%, which is a very good pass rate, right? As I said, if you study for it, you will clear it. Exam cost for all 3 levels, Milake, is 2400 USD. So I know 2400 is around, पौने 2 लाख के आसपास है, and that seems like a huge amount. But what you have to understand, guys, if you do your MBA in finance, so let me just clear all this mess first of all. So if you do your MBA in finance from the top 20 colleges, you will pay at least 15-20 lakhs for it, right? And you will leave your job. There'll be an opportunity cost that you're not working, but you're studying for your MBA, okay? And you're paying this much amount. Now your CFA is definitely comparable to your MBA in finance. Of course, not maybe an MBA in finance from IIM Calcutta, right, or one of the top IIMs, but definitely it will be comparable to an MBA in finance from perhaps an MDI Gurgaon or a TAPMI. So it is comparable to that. You don't need to leave your job, and in less than 2 lakhs, you get a globally recognized certification. So this guy's CFA is well known across the world. 170 plus countries recognize it. So there will be pockets in the USA that may not have heard about an IIM, but they still know what a CFA is. So it's like the gold standard in finance. And in that sense, I feel the exam cost is great. It is peaceful. You don't need to leave your job. You can study while working, right? And you pay less than 2 lakhs to do something that's almost like an MBA in finance. Right? And the kind of salary jump that you will get with this, you will be able to get a return on investment straight away in 1 year on this cost. Easily less than a year. Right? So I would really recommend the CFA. Next coming up is FRM. FRM is Financial Risk Manager. We already saw that. The focus is very narrow. It is on risk management only. So all the curriculum, your math, debt, derivatives, they're all fixated and focused around where, which is value at risk. Okay, it's completely around this concept. Okay, so risk management is how the exam is focused. There is no eligibility. Anybody can take it, right? There's no eligibility to take the exam. Of course, there's an eligibility to get the charter, but nothing to take the exam. CV value is very high. Job seen is definitely high. It's above average from level 1. But I have written above average and not high because it's narrow. It is focused, as I said, only towards risk management. Right? There are just 2 levels, and both the levels you can take in May and November. So in 1 year, you can potentially clear your FRM. So in that sense, it's a great exam, right? That you don't have to invest that much time to get this. You need 2 years of relevant experience to get the charter. Unlike, so again, you are saving time here also in terms of the work experience needed. This is another good news compared to the CFA. It's completely MCQ driven. Time, as I said, is a good news. Pass rate is quite decent. Exam cost is also less, 1175, right? So if you go ahead with 1200, it's less than a lakh. 1 साल के अंदर, within 1 year, right, and within 1 lakh, you get a very great certification. As the only hitch, as I said, is you have to be focused कि हाँ मुझे risk management में ही job करना है, मुझे risk management ही करना है. If you don't have that focus, then doing FRM means that you are just relegating yourself to a particular branch. Okay, so if you have some work experience and you have had an idea about how to manage risk and you're only focusing on this, then aankh band karke take the FRM. But if that is not the case, right, if you are confused, okay, within finance, what should I do? Then I would recommend go for the CFA. Right? Just because the CFA really covers the entire length and breadth of the finance world. Otherwise, if you're focused, as I said, यहाँ पे बहुत सारे positives हैं. MCQs, correct? Less work experience and very good job scene also, as long as it is risk management, right? So great, guys. SEMA. So SEMA is a very interesting program. SEMA, in fact, here is the only program that is not from the US and India. So you have CA that is from India, right? That we are going to discuss right at the end. What we'll discuss, you'll tell me more about CA than I'll tell you, right? But anyway, so we'll do CA a little bit. But all the other certifications are all US certifications. SEMA is the only UK certification that we have, right? So if you see the price also, it is in Great Britain pounds, GBP. Okay. There's another reason why SEMA is very interesting. SEMA has a lot of exemptions possible. Exemption means that you don't need to take all exams if you already have some educational background. So it's the only exam that allows exemptions, and it's the only exam that you can start taking properly right from your 10th standard. Okay, so great. What is the focus? The focus is management accounting, which means that you're looking at cost management, you're looking more at the corporate world. You can also be looking at the consulting world with management accounting. But you will not be looking at a derivatives trading job, right? You will not be looking at, you could still be looking at M&A in investment banking, right? But the focus more is on management accounting for companies. Okay. What is the eligibility? As I said, 10 standard, CV value is quite high. And if you want to get into management accounting, there is great scope from the management level. So they have like 4 basic levels. There's a certificate in business accounting. This is, one level. Then you have the operational level. This is the second level. Then you have the management level, third level. And finally, the fourth level is strategic level. So once you clear your management level and you are looking at management accounting jobs, you have great scope. Curriculum is very focused on financial management and reporting with a little bit of maths thrown in during business accounting, some eco hai, but overall major focus on these 2 aspects. Levels, as I said, is 4. To get the final charter, you need 3 years of relevant experience. Exam mode is mostly MCQ driven and case based. So it's a combination of MCQs and handwritten notes. Time frame is 2 to 3 years, but actually depending on when you start, if you start from 10th and you finish it till you are a graduate or something, strategic in fact can be taken only after graduation, right? You cannot take strategic while you are a graduate. So you can take 5 to 6 years, aram se you can clear it. Okay. If you are already a graduate, you will not need to do the CBA. So there are all these exemptions possible. You'll more or less start off with the operation level. If you are a BCom graduate from somewhere, then some of the operation level papers you don't need to take. So this is how the CIMA is very different from the other exams. Exactly what exemptions are possible for you, that based on your background you can go and find from the website. Right? So guys, whether it is CFA, FR and CIMA, whenever you're finding something about any of these, I have not put in the website links, they're easily available. But focus on the original website of the exam. Don't focus on some other, test prep exam website or anything. Focus on the original exam. Pass rate, some of the papers have more than 50%, right? But 50% average pass rate hai. Cost is 1800 GBP, which comes close to less than 2 lakhs. So it's a great value for money, guys, if you're focused on management accounting. And if you have younger siblings and they want to start off right after 10th, 12th, they can definitely consider the CIMA. You have great job prospects in UK, US also after this, which is true even for CFA, FRM as well. Yeah, great. Let's move on to the next one, which is the CAIA. It's Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst. Okay, so charter word तो हमें पता ही हम सुन रहे हैं कब से. Alternative investments are unusual investments. So when you invest in commodity, when you invest in hedge funds, right? When you invest in real estate, then these are alternative investments. These are not normal debt, derivatives and equity. These are your normal investments. These, when people say I've invested, usually they mean one of these three, right? Debt is basically the bond market. कि आप गवर्नमेंट या कॉर्पोरेट को लोन दे रहे हो and you get a fixed rate of return, correct? Equity is your stock market, where some preference shares may give you a fixed return, but mostly here you're investing in the company, for which you may get a dividend based on how the company does, right? Of course, there's stock appreciation, and in that sense, bonds can also appreciate, okay? So, and then finally, there is derivatives. These are basically products that are based on debt or equity. So derivatives अगर समझाना है तो that will take an altogether different session, right? So when I say investment, this is what I normally mean. Alternative investments are these other investments, as I said, commodities hai, hedge funds hai, derivatives based on commodities. Okay, so the curriculum also focuses a lot on hedge funds and real estate. Thoda bahut these topics are covered in CFA also, but they are covered in more depth in CAIA. So actually what happened was before the 2008 drop in the market, alternative investments were doing quite well. But the decline in 2008 also happened partly because of these alternative investments. So iske baad when 2008 ka pura the US real estate market crashed, a lot of financial institutions crashed. CAIA का थोड़ा value, CAIA का demand थोड़ा कम हुआ है, right? But if you are focused on alternative investments, which I find very unlikely, because usually, as I said, right, people are more focused towards normal investments, then CAIA is a good program. Okay, as usual, as some of the other cases, right, there's no eligibility per se. As an exam, it's a little easier, so the CV value and even the job scene is not that high, right? It's on average only, and it is narrowly focused towards alternative investments. Okay, Curriculum is similar to CFA in terms of topic, but the weightages are different. As I said कि real estate CFA में काफी कम 1% से भी कम होगा, but in CAIA it's close to 15%, right? So the weightages change, but the curriculum topics is similar. You know the way CFA has ethics, even CAIA has ethics. Okay, there are two levels to be taken. Work experience is either 1 year only of relevant work experience, or even if you have 4 years of some financial experience, you can still get the charter. So 1 to 4 years के बीच में आपको charter मिल सकता है, right? Relevant means it should be relevant to alternative investments में ही आपका experience होना जरूरी है. Okay, so they check all these experiences, they call up your company, and a proper methodical check is done before the charter is handed out. Exam is a combination of MCQs and handwritten. Level 2 has some handwritten subjective questions also. Level 1 is completely MCQ driven. Exam time frame, you can take both the levels in 1 year in a span of, even 3 months each. 3 months is the minimum gap. So potentially you can cover both the levels in 6 months as well. Pass rate is very high, 50%. But here is another negative. The cost is also very high. It is higher than the 3 levels of CFA. One more thing, guys, I want to just say कि जो मैं exam cost लिख रही हूँ, it is with the assumption that you use the early bird rates, okay, and you clear all the levels first attempt. If you don't clear a level, you'll have to pay the exam fee again, and the cost will go up. So all these exam costs, that's why I'm putting a plus everywhere. These are minimum costs कि आप early bird pricing use कर रहे हो and you are clearing each level first attempt, right? So even with that, this is close to $3,000, right? Even the CFA is just 2,400 with 3 levels. So CAIA in that sense is not something I would recommend to students, right? I would, of course, as I said, recommend FRM, CFA, etc., but not the CAIA. So unless you are really in this very narrow job 5-7 years down the line and you feel the need to move abroad, maybe you can look into this, but not right now. Great. Next, we have the CPA. So the CPA is the US equivalent in some sense of our CA. The CFA is not the equivalent, guys. Abhi tak to you've realized, right? CFA is an analyst. CPA is your accountant. Okay. Now, CA or CPA, what do they do exactly? So the next one, right, is CA. So they are very focused towards, first of all, accounting. Okay. That is the first area of interest. So it's not just analyzing. You are not into analyzing a financial statement. You are into making a financial statement. Okay. So their first focus is accounting. Second focus is auditing, and third focus is taxation. Now the tax laws of every country are different, correct? How taxation works in India is very different from how taxation works in Australia, how it works in the US, okay? That is why to become an accountant, you need to be a chartered accountant or a chartered public accountant from that country. So if you're an Indian CA and you're working in India, you're fine, right? But if you want to go abroad and you want to do the same kind of work, then this CA will not be enough. You'll have to take the CPA. So the focus is on accounting. And public accounting means that you're accounting for corporates, etc., for the public. Eligibility, big problem. It is at least 16 years of education. Which means that if you're a BCom, you cannot take it. If you're a BCom, BMS, you need to at least finish your first year of MCom to take the CPA. CV value is definitely above average, right, for Indian scene, but job scene, you with a CPA, you can't really think about taking an Indian audit job. To do an Indian audit job, you have to do a CA. But if you're thinking of going abroad, then definitely it's a very good addition, and it will help you getting jobs also. Curriculum is, of course, focused on tax and professional standards, right, for each country. So as I said, different. So the CPA, for example, is also something that's offered in Australia. It's controlled by the same board, but Australia has a different curriculum. In fact, the CPA is so detail oriented. It is so refined that even in the USA, the CPA curriculum changes from state to state because every state has a different way of taxation. Okay, so be aware of this a little bit. If you're thinking of going abroad, also think about which CPA you should do. Right, all the CPAs are not equivalent. So you need to have clarity on कहाँ जाना है आपको, कौन से country में, कौन से state में, and then look at the CPA for that state specifically. Okay, there are 4 papers you need to take. In fact, it's not even levels, right? You need to take 4 papers. They have a little bit of computer adaptive testing that they take. So they are, it's a multi-stage paper that you will take. How you do in the first set of questions will determine what kind of questions you get in the next set. So that's how, again, CPA is different from CFA and other exams. None of the other exams are adaptive, right? So I hope we know what adaptive means. Adaptive means that the paper itself changes. You don't get a fixed paper. That's why the GMAT is adaptive. GMAT में भी आपके जो questions आते हैं, it depends on how well you have done the previous question. तो वैसे भी ये जो CPA के भी questions है, they are adaptive. Okay. Work experience for the charter, you will need at least 1 to 2 years of work experience. Again, why I am writing 1 to 2 years? Because it depends on states. Different states have different work experience. सब में minimum 1 है, कोई states में 2 साल का भी work experience लगता है. Okay. Exam mode is again MCQ and handwritten. A lot of their corrections take place automatically. So even the handwritten handwritten questions are also graded automatically. At least one score is generated by a robot, by artificial intelligence, and one by a human. And if they are not substantially different, then they just go ahead with that, right? Exam time frame, you can clear this in 9 months max, right? If you already know your material, you can finish it in 6 months also. So exam time frame is less than a year. It's a decent pass rate, and exam cost also is around 1500 USD. So close to 1 lakh में आपका CPA हो जाएगा. Okay, great. This अपना Indian CA. As I said, I'm sure आप मुझे इसके बारे में सिखा सकते हो. Everyone, all of us who have done some commerce graduation, right? Our parents have been telling us बचपन से, not बचपन से, but maybe 7th, 8th से कि नहीं CA करना है, CA करना है. And I'm sure a lot of us have tried the CPT, right? So CA, we know about it. Okay. So what is the focus? It's accounts and audit, right? 12th standard ke baad you can take the CPT, then you can take the inter, and then you can take the final, right? So eligibility for the first level is 12th standard. Very high CV value, very high job scene. In fact, a lot of CAs do end up doing their MBAs as well. So it's not something to be scoffed at. Becoming a CA is not easy. In fact, long ago, the pass percentage for CAs used to be less than 1%. अभी ये थोड़ा percent बढ़ रहा है. So imagine people who have done their CA at that time, they have really worked hard for it, and they are really accomplished people. Doing a CA is no joke. Okay, so if you compare the pass percentages everywhere, कम से कम 40% का pass percent तो है ही, right? Whereas the CA has close to 10% pass percentage. So yeah, we should treat all these guys with respect. And of course, once you clear it, इतने कम CAs हैं, इंडिया में CAs का डिमांड ज़्यादा है और CAs कम है. So your CV value, job scene will be very, very good. Curriculum, of course, like CPA, it's on tax and professional standards. Levels, I'm putting in 2 to 3 because if you don't, if you start after your BCom, MCom, then you may just need to do your inter and final. You don't need to do the CPT. Right? You need 3 years full-time work experience, and this is work experience that is authenticated by the CA Institute themselves. And my God, the horror stories I hear about how students and aspirants are really made to slog. It is a slog-filled work experience. They are made to work 10 to 12 hours a day, and it's really just crazy. Yeah. Exam mode CPT is MCQ, but inter and final are handwritten. So it's a combination of MCQ and handwritten. Time frame more than 2 years. You will hear stories about people who have been taking CA final for the last 10 years. Every year they go and take the exam, right? And so यहाँ पे भी there are a lot of these exemptions कि तुम एक group clear कर लिए तो फिर you don't need to clear that group next time. या अगर एक पेपर में आपको 75% से ज़्यादा मिल गया तो next time वो पेपर देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. ऐसा they are using all these things to ensure that more students pass out, because as I said, the CAs needed are far more than actual CAs. So they are also trying to bolster the pass rate. So abhi pass rate has started going above 10%, right? So doing the CA is not that difficult compared to what it used to be 20 years before. So you can thank your stars, and if your parents are CAs, please go and touch their feet. Okay, you can touch their feet regardless. But yeah, it used to be very tough to be in a CA, to clear in a CA exam, right? Exam cost is less than rupees 50,000, which is, so it's one of the cheapest exams, obviously, right? In India, because of the USD dollar differential, most of the Indian certifications are cheaper. So yes, these are basically each and every financial certification that is going to come up in your life sooner or later. And I hope that this session gave you a good idea about each of them. Final analysis mein, guys, if you're focused on auditing and accounting in India, then this is the exam that you need to look at. Accounts and audits in India, तो आप CA कीजिए. Okay. Accounts and audits abroad करना है, तो आप CPA कीजिए. अगर आपको फाइनेंस में कुछ करना है, मतलब कि अकाउंटिंग भी करना है, तो भी आप CFA तो कर ही सकते हैं. So as I said, this will be my top most recommendation. अगर आपको रिस्क मैनेजमेंट में कुछ करना है, if you have that focus, then of course, and this is obviously for this, I'm saying anywhere in the world, कहाँ पे भी करना है, इंडिया करना है, अब्रॉड करना है, right? You can still look at these two exams. सीमा, अगर आपको मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटेंट का फोकस है, anywhere, again, India, abroad, right? Then you should consider the CMA. CAIA, I would say not that necessary unless you have a focus, your organization is, your company, right, is financing your exam, then you may look at this seriously, otherwise you let it go. Right? So great, guys. I hope you all had an interesting time today. I hope you learned a lot about financial certifications, right? And I hope to see you again tomorrow. As I said, we are starting off with 2019 CAT questions verbal ke at 12 o'clock. So I hope to see you there tomorrow. And of course, on Unacademy. So I know that, we have a lot of free resources available across the internet. YouTube is one of them. But the kind of interaction that you get in YouTube, guys, is nowhere comparable to the kind of interaction you'll get on Unacademy, right? So in Unacademy, I can actually run a question alone. I could run the question as a part of a test. Students can give answers where, the right answer is not visible because the students cannot see each other's answers. So there are live polls, there are leaderboards, right, of which student is doing well. You have regular test series that you can take with analysis and feedback, right? So these features, first of all, are not there on YouTube. And because most of the other institutes were not really completely ready for COVID, a lot of institutes also don't have these features. In fact, I would really go out on a limb here and say that Unacademy is the best environment for studies, for any test preparation, including the CAT, of course, right? You also have this concept of a doubt solving session where students can put in their question as images and faculty can then solve it for them. So it's really a great place to study and to do well in your examinations. And of course, let's not forget the National Scholarship Test, guys. I told you all already कि वो है अभी आज 5 बजे, where you will be doing the con section. I hope you win vouchers for your Diwali, right? With subscription to go for, well, if you're focused on CAT 20, then you can look at the 6-month subscription, because after CAT there'll be XAT, NMAT, GDPI, and we'll be there throughout. But if you are confused between 20 and 21, then you should look at the 2-year subscription, right? So great, guys. I hope to see you soon. Do use my code Munira10